Okay, I'm going to tell you a fascinating story about this 1872 marriage certificate that was found in a thrift shop in the back of a painting. You might have seen this story. It's been picked up on a ton of local television stations, even the national media like Inside Edition, Miami Herald, People Magazine, and Fox News. The list keeps growing. A lot of these people have gotten a hold of this story, and I had a big hand in this story as well. So honestly, I can't tell you how excited I am to tell you this story. You're not going to want to miss this one. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Connie Knox. I am a lifelong genealogist here to help you go further, faster, and factually with your family history research. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell so that you get notified each time I upload a video like this one, because this is a fun one. All right. And Genealogy TV has a website, a newsletter, and a Facebook page. Links for all of that are in the show notes below. I have created a handout for this. Now, the handout is actually the research report that I created for this. And so if you want to see what a research report looks like, you're going to be able to see that. If you are at the information access level channel membership, you can hit the join button to learn a little bit more about that. And you can find it at genealogytv.org. All right, now, oh my gosh, I can't wait to tell you this story. It started all one evening a few weeks ago while I was sitting in front of the television watching the local news.
First up tonight, a romance spanning nearly 150 years, and now the hunt is on for the stars of this love story. It starts in Brunswick County, where the Hope Chest thrift store's Pam Phelps was cleaning an antique print. She found an almost 150-year-old marriage certificate hidden in the frame. The certificate is so old and so faded that you cannot make out the couple's last name, though it does say it was issued in 1875 in Bordentown, New Jersey, to William the groom and Katie the bride. The painting, which dates back to 1889, was donated last week, and now the store is trying to find any living family members and needs your help.
We're going to try. In fact, we're trying now. So we've got it on Facebook, so we've got the word out. So if anybody has any idea or can help us at all, that would be great.
Phelps says employees have many questions. The main one, why was the certificate hidden? We'll update this story when we learn.
All right, well, you know me. I couldn't let that go. I had to get a hold of the thrift shop and learn a little bit more. Okay, so this was a Thursday evening and the weekend was coming, and I just, I got to thinking about it and it was just like gnawing at me. So the news report said that they couldn't read the last names, but they had the first names, a place, and a marriage date. And to me, that was enough information to do the research. So I got a hold of Carmen Smith, who is the executive director over there at the Hope Chest, which is the thrift shop in Brunswick County, North Carolina, where the marriage certificate was found. And I asked for better images of the certificate, and she went and sent them to me immediately, which was awesome. There they are. My plan was to work on this over the weekend, but I couldn't sleep thinking about it. As Friday came, I just couldn't let it go. It kept bugging me, so I jumped in and I got right to it. Instead of working on my next video, I went ahead and started working on this mystery marriage certificate from 1875, and who were these people, and how on earth did this marriage certificate get in the back of a painting? How I ended up from New Jersey to a thrift shop in North Carolina, I have no idea. But here, we're going to tell you more about the story. So after 3 days of research, I was able to solve this mystery, and here's how I did it. In examining the images, I could see the last names well enough to know that I could start a research. Either it was the last name of William was either DeWorth or DeWert. We weren't quite sure. And that gave me enough information to start playing with it on Ancestry and Family Search. Now, the first clue came to me on Family Search. And now that I could see kind of some of the marriage information from William DeWorth and Katie Havey, their marriage certificate clearly stated that the date was 11 April 1875. Now, there's more to that story here too, so stick around. And they were married in Bordentown, New Jersey. Well, the first step was to transcribe this document. And yes, I do that. And I do that because you will pull out all of that detail, all of that juicy goodness out of a document when you actually transcribe it. So yes, I do it, and because I did that, it led me to several clues to help find this family later on in the hunt. A quick search of Bordentown, New Jersey showed me that the county was Burlington, New Jersey. So that gave me a little bit more information. Jumping on Ancestry.com, a search for William D. Worth and Katie Havey revealed several census records showing the couple living in the same town. But was that enough? No. I needed to know whether this was even the right family, right? So then I started a floating tree in my own tree for this couple. Now I realize I'm not related to them, but I do this a lot. I'll either start a second tree, but I wanted to do it in my tree. I created a floating tree. If you want to learn more about floating trees, I'll leave a link on the screen for you now as to how to get to the episode about floating trees. But a floating tree basically is a disconnected group of people within your tree, okay? And by doing so, this allowed hints to populate and assist in my research. Now, even though it was not my family, I went ahead and put this in the tree. This research will likely become valuable to somebody later on, so I just wanted to have it in my tree. Working through those hints, I collected several census records and city directories. Now, the city directories revealed addresses that corresponded with the names and occupations that I found on the census records. So things are starting to tie together, right? Using the census records in combination with the city directories can be incredibly valuable. It's a really powerful combination to tie people together in dates and places. And the cool part about doing that is the city directories can also help fill in the blanks between census records, okay? So I was able to then take some of that information from the city directories, and I jumped on Google Maps, and using the address, I was able to see what the environment was like that they were living in from the city directories. And I could see just exactly how close these people were living to each other in a place called Miles Alley near 2nd Street. Okay, so these little houses are so close together that, you know, you could throw a rock and hit the front door from one house to the other. So it really started to kind of bring to life this story. Then I did targeted research for this couple, their names, the dates that I had collected, to make sure there were no other people by the same name and to make sure that I had the right people. In doing so, I revealed that there were other people by the same name, but as it turns out, they were their children and some siblings and some other family members that you could quickly discern where they were in the family tree. Comparing the estimated birth dates, names, and occupations helped me to separate those with the names of the original couple. Here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10 records that say he's a machinist. Now it was time to do some fan club research, the cluster research. This is where you research the friends, associates, and neighbors of the ancestor in which you are researching. Now, the marriage certificate had 2 witnesses on it. It had Fanny Robinson and Marie L. Ferguson. Now, why would you want to research these people in this record? Well, hold that thought for a minute because I'm going to show you why. Researching the others in the document, namely one of the witnesses, Fanny Robinson, showed up in a school record. Now, guess who also was listed in that school record? The bride, Catherine Havey. This was new information. Now, she actually shows up in the 1870 census twice, both times as a domestic servant. She was age 22, white female, living in Mansfield, Burlington County, New Jersey, born in Ireland, both parents born in a foreign land. She was holding 2 jobs down. I'm telling you, this is the same woman in 2 different 1870 census records. Now, one was the school where Fanny Robinson was listed, and one was the home of Moses Wills. Now, along the way, I started creating research notes for this couple. This allowed me to see everything in chronological order with details that are not easily seen on a profile on Ancestry or Family Search. I also added the source citations for each document that I found. Now, by now, I knew that was the right couple associated with the marriage certificate. Then I turned to the descendancy research because it was the goal of the thrift shop to hand over this document to a living descendant. So conducting the research, I discovered a direct descendant who was an active member on Ancestry and her name was Irene. She had more documents and had been the originator of several images from this couple. So that told me that she was likely a direct descendant, and she was serious about genealogy enough that she might be a good candidate to receive this document. So I anxiously sent a message to Irene telling her this. I said, "Hi, Irene. I see that you have shared some images for William T. DeWorth and Catherine Havey. I'm working on a story about this couple, and I'm wondering if you are a descendant." Now remember, when messaging somebody for the first time, either through messaging on Ancestry or anywhere, less is more. I did not go into a 400-word novel about what was going on. If it's too much information, you may not get a response at all. And I really wanted a response. I was hoping she would respond. Well, 2 days later, she did. She wrote this. She said, "Hi, Connie. They are my great-grandparents on my mother's side. I know very little about them, but I'm happy to share what I have." And she provided me her email address. So little did she know what was about to happen would change her life, for at least for a few weeks. So I emailed her back and I told her I had some very exciting news, and I sent her the Facebook link and the news story from WWAY. Then I contacted Carmen at the thrift shop, and again we talked and told her that I found a direct descendant, a great-granddaughter for this couple, and her name was Irene. Well, now we had the research done. I had gotten to the point where I was confident in everything I had done. I kind of gone up the line and down the line, and I had to get on a Zoom call with Irene and tell her what I found in my research. Well, thanks for responding, because I really didn't think you would.
It's still, so interesting to me. I hadn't been on Ancestry in quite a while, and that I just happened to go on around the time when this was happening is really stunning to me.
Well, we talked for about an hour and a half, and it was so much fun, and I talked about what I found and what she already knew. Now, she told me that her mother had been a genealogist before even computers had gotten a hold of the genealogy world, and she had taken some extensive notes about her parents and her grandparents. Now, this was Irene's mother had taken these notes. Irene said she had information handed down through the family of Catherine Havey, and that she had been born in County Clare, Ireland, but she had not been able to locate any records. Now, she also said that Catherine had a sister named Annie Havey, and that both of them had come to America and possibly together. And they worked as domestic servants for 2 different branches of the same family. Okay. Again, cluster research kicks in, and I found Annie working as a domestic servant in the home of a guy named Edward Wills. Now, Katie, or Catherine as she's known in some of her documents, she was also working as a domestic servant in the home of Moses Wills. Now, doing a little more digging, I found out that Moses was the father of Edward. So that supports the family lore that helps confirm Annie as a sister to Catherine. Researching immigration records for either of them, I could not find when or where they immigrated to the U.S. However, 3 census records showed that Catherine arrived somewhere between 1863 and 1865. Well, the news media picked it up, and it was WWAY who had the scoop. And here's what they had to say.
While cleaning a picture frame, a Hope Chest Thrift employee found a nearly 150-year-old marriage license nailed inside the back. It was so old, only the year, city, and couple's first names, William and Katie, were legible.
And this couple was married in New Jersey, and somehow the certificate found its way to a thrift store on Old Ocean Highway in Bolivia, North Carolina.
A unique find, so WWAY aired a story on the discovery. Not long after, while home in upstate New York, William and Katie DeWorth's great-granddaughter, Irene Cornish, decided to log into Ancestry.com on a whim.
I haven't been on Ancestry in quite a few months, but went on to research a family member on the other side, and I happened to notice I had these messages.
Messages from viewers who were able to track Cornish down. Though Cornish doesn't know how this love story began, she knows her great-grandmother Catherine Havey moved to America toward the end of the Irish potato famine. Her great-grandfather William DeWorth had his own ventriloquy and fire-eating acts. Though the mystery isn't completely solved, Cornish says she feels more connected than ever to family she's only heard stories about.
And so it just felt comforting that, oh, these people are reaching out somehow. I am connected.
In Brunswick County, Peyton Furtado, WWAY News.
Well, then, the Washington Post got a hold of it, the Miami Herald, Inside Edition. I mean, the list just keeps growing. Between all of that, Irene and the director at the Hope Chest started talking and planning to return the marriage certificate to Irene. Now, Irene decided to come to North Carolina to see the document for herself. We all met in Bolivia at the Hope Chest thrift shop where the document was found, and here's what happened. We all decided to meet on a Monday. When I arrived, the news magazine Inside Edition had a crew there shooting interviews. Well, this is all too exciting. Right over my shoulder here, there are two local news organizations interviewing Irene, who is the great-granddaughter of the couple in the marriage certificate. And, you know, Inside Edition is inside right now, also interviewing the shopkeeper who found the document. So this is pretty cool. Well, since that time, I've had a lot of conversations with Irene, and she told me that the parents died toward the end of the potato famine, and they were sent to live with two aunts in Ireland. They were also sponsored to come over from Ireland to work in what was called the Hilltop Hotel, and they lived with two different branches of the same family. As we had talked about earlier, this turns out to be the Wills family. And she said, my great-grandmother died of pneumonia after falling on the ice and breaking some of her ribs. She said they bound her ribs at the time, which resulted in her developing pneumonia. Now, while the marriage certificate between William DeWorth and Kate Havey is clearly dated 1875, it turns out it was not so clear. I had to look at it again. Irene corrected me. When we both saw the document in person, if you look very close, it is 1872 and not 1875. Okay, through all of my conversations, one of the comments that Irene said in a Zoom call really brought it home.
Everything about this, I feel like this is going to sound a little, ooh, but I believe in these things. I almost feel like it all happened the way it did. It's as if your family is trying to reach out to you to get you connected to something that deals with them. I have family, but they're all at a distance. And since my mother died 5-6 years ago, I felt kind of isolated up here. I'm married and I love my husband and his family, but I don't have anybody that really knows me anywhere close by. And I have felt this odd sense of not belonging anywhere. To have this happen at a time when I'm feeling that so strongly for some reason, it's almost like family reaching out to you to say, you do belong to this greater family, even if they're not still here. It's just stunning to me. It's like all the stars aligned that I would see this information.
Okay, now with all the press lined up, myself included, I want to show you the moment that Irene sees the certificate for the first time.
Hi, I'm Pam. How are you?
Good, Pam. Nice to meet you.
Here's your certificate.
Oh,
That we
wow.
found.
I'm sorry.
So it's gonna go home.
I
It's
still,
awesome, isn't it?
I still can't believe it. I found out about it, and that I'm gonna have it for my family.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
We're excited about it.
So overwhelmed.
We're glad that we
I
were
can't.
part of this story. You
I
know,
can't tell you how grateful I am to Carmen and all of you that you cared enough to try to find the family for this, because we have so little.
Yeah, we're
This is
really
just
excited.
amazing.
Because family is, it's just so important.
It is.
to
It
me.
is. And I lost my mother. She had lived with me toward the end of her life, and
That's awesome.
I don't know, losing your parents is a whole different experience. You feel a little adrift out there, and this just feels like
bringing it home.
They were reaching out somehow.
That's right. I agree with you.
But
That's awesome.
I'm grateful to the people here and to Connie who reached out on Ancestry, because I'd have never seen your Facebook post. And if it weren't for the people on Ancestry who took the time to search on these names, that's how
It
they
would
found
have
me.
happened. I know.
And if they hadn't messaged
it's
me, I'd
amazing.
never known.
It's amazing.
That's just amazing.
We're just excited to be part of it.
Oh, it's beautiful too.
Isn't
What
it?
a beautiful
It really is.
certificate. I love it. I love it. And just incredibly grateful and humbled that's why I had to come here in person. I
I'm
had
glad
to
you-
meet the people
We
that
are
cared
glad you did.
to do
We
this.
are.
I couldn't trust it to the mail. It's incredible. Thank you.
You're so
I feel
welcome.
so blessed to
You're
and
so
so
welcome.
lucky to have been reunited with this and
Yes.
to be able to share it with the other surviving relatives
Yes. That
of
means a
Katie
lot.
Havey and William Dewar.